Welcome to Hughes from the Heart. This is a free episode. I'm just going to give this one away. Even though giving away podcasts has never, ever actually resulted in anyone joining the podcast. So a rational person would say, why am I doing this? Why do I keep giving away free things? It's like the samples at Costco. They slice up the little cocktail weenies and you poke it with the, you poke it with the little, what do you call those things you put in your mouth? The toothpicks. You poke it with a toothpick. And they say, oh, yes, we have a bag of these cocktail weenies right around the corner, aisle 5. And you're like, oh, yeah, sure, you betcha. You never buy the damn cocktail weenies. Same with the podcast. I keep giving you free episodes. You never join. It's okay. It's all right. I'm not too bitter about it. I'd love it if you joined the full podcast. So it's $1 a month, for God's sakes. I wish people question how much they spend on lattes every month. My podcast brings you joy, smiles, positivity, and a good attitude. Plus, good news stories that we need. The mainstream media, damn them all. I'm convinced they just want you to suffer out there. They don't want to share with you all the good news that's out there in the world, but there is a lot of good news. So, anyway, thanks for listening to this free podcast. This one's not necessarily about good news, but it's about something that's always fascinated me. And it is just a crazy thing that our brain does to us. It's called the Mandela Effect. And I want to explore it here with you on this free edition of Hughes from the Heart, the Spencer Hughes Positivity Podcast. You can find the free version everywhere from Spreaker to Spotify to iTunes to Google Podcasts and more. And I hope you will decide to join the full-blown paid version. I do daily, for some tiers, several times a day, at patreon.com/Spencer Hughes. So I found this article again on Upworthy.com, and it's about something that I've talked about on and off the air for many decades now, and that is what is known as the Mandela Effect. And it's absolutely mind-blowing. It really is. So the Mandela Effect is a phenomenon. It's one of those things that makes you wonder really how our brains work and why they work the way they do. But the Mandela Effect is a phenomenon that really puts into question our memories, especially our longer-term memories, maybe going back several decades, maybe going back to even our childhood. Now, the effect apparently got its name, again, this is according to Upworthy.com, from a paranormal researcher by the name of Fiona Broom, who noticed that people have crystal-clear memories of things, even if they didn't happen, even of things that never existed. It's pretty cool and it's pretty interesting. The origin seems to stem from thousands of people who have a vivid recollection of former South African President Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. They remember it with such detail, even remembering articles in the newspapers or of seeing his funeral televised around the world. But that didn't happen. The truth is, Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990. He lived to be 95 years old. He didn't pass away until 2013, in fact. And yet, millions of people apparently remember him dying in prison in the 1980s when I was a little kid. That's just one of many examples, and we're going to investigate others here on the podcast. Here's one of my favorite ones, and I am guilty of remembering this incorrectly. All of us have played Monopoly, I would imagine, and now there's even digital versions you can play on your phone. I actually paid for a version of Monopoly on my phone, which I enjoy playing. And I'm guilty of this misremembering, if you will, this erroneous memory. In my mind, the Monopoly man had a monocle. Do you remember the Monopoly man as having a monocle? Comment if you can, and let me know. Or drop me a message through social media and tell me if you remember the Monopoly man having a monocle, because my hand's way up in the air. I definitely remembered him having a monocle. But guess what? He never did. He never wore spectacles of any kind. But many of us remember him as if he did. What about this one? Another one I'm guilty of. I'm guilty of most of the ones on this list. Jiffy peanut butter. How many people have referred to Jiffy peanut butter? Oh, hey, honey, can you go buy some Jiffy peanut butter at the store? It was never called Jiffy. It's just Jif. J-I-F. One of my favorite book series from childhood and Even my children enjoyed them, and they still reprint them and maybe even write new ones today. I don't know. But what about the Berenstain Bears? Well, that's what they're called, the Berenstain Bears, but many of us remember them as the Berenstain Bears or Berenstain Bears. It's not spelled Berenstein. It's spelled Berenstein, like stain on your shirt. The Berenstain Bears. How many of you got that one wrong? And this is a really, really interesting one because I felt guilty to this one too, and I think it's because everybody else was talking about it and remembering something that never really was. No one is going to confuse Shaquille O'Neal with the 90s comedian Sinbad, right? Well, if that's true, then how come thousands of us remember Sinbad playing a genie in the movie Kazam? I don't remember it being Shaquille O'Neal. Very, very interesting. Sinbad the comedian, not Sinbad the sailor. Now, how about Star Wars? Yep, that iconic moment when Darth Vader tells Luke the truth about his family history. Vader never actually did say, Luke, I am your Luke. Luke, I am your father. Simba, this is all yours. Okay, I got a little carried away there. He never actually said, Luke, I am your father in The Empire Strikes Back. He didn't say that. But how many T-shirts, how many mugs, how many posters, how many memories are full of that quote, Luke, I am your father? He actually says, no, I am your father. Just a misremembered movie line? It happens a lot. How about Forrest Gump? Forrest Gump said, life is like a box of chocolates, right? Well, he never actually said that. The actual line from Forrest Gump is, life was like a box of chocolates. It's interesting, isn't it? Because how many people haven't said that, and how many memes haven't said, life is like a box of chocolates, when it was never actually said that way in the movie. What about this one? Let's test you on this one. Ever eat Fruit Loops, the cereal? Ever eat Fruit Loops, the cereal? F-R-U-I-T? Well, that's impossible because they're F-R-O-O-T. Fruit Loops. These are just a few examples of the Mandela Effect. There are many countless ones you can Google and come up with. There are so many out there. Thousands of them, in fact. And some people are stubborn and say, no, he actually said that. You remember in Casablanca with Ingrid Bergman and Humphrey Bogart, he never said, play it again, Sam. He never said, play it again, Sam. That's another one, like the Star Wars and Forrest Gump quotes that people continuously get wrong. So pretty interesting stuff. And the Monopoly guy did not wear a monocle, no matter how many people believe and remember that he did. I'm Spencer Hughes, kind of a little quirky version of Hughes from the Heart, but I try to give you different examples of some of the things we might talk about on the paid podcast, and I hope you enjoy just kind of the calmness of the podcast. I used to be a screamer on the radio for 25 years. Now I just kind of calmed down, I've chilled out, and I just like bringing you fun stories and inspiring stories, motivational topics, things like the law of attraction, mindfulness, meditation, minimalism, prosperity thinking, the placebo effect, the power of the subconscious mind. And yes, I'm right on those memories. I talk about all of those things. There's no Mandela effect going on there. And yes, once upon a time, I used to have hair. You have to go pretty far back, though, to find any pictures of me with hair. I'm Spencer Hughes. Please join Hughes from the Heart at patreon.com/Spencer Hughes. I'd love to see you join today. Take care and have a beautiful day. You're loved. You matter. Start acting like it.